Hi, Lacey. It's Nick. This video's for you. I've got your email. I think it was very valuable to be raised in an atheist family. Reason and critical thinking and all that category of thought, I guess, was really was valued very highly in my family. I also, and I don't know whether this is a separate value. It may be a separate value, but tolerance. It sort of encouraged tolerance as well. I can't draw the direct link, but I know that somehow they're linked. So it also encouraged tolerance in me. It encouraged open-mindedness as well, and that was probably the highest placed value that we had was an open-mindedness. And open-mindedness, is connected with tolerance, definitely connected with tolerance. So maybe those two are actually more connected, but somehow they were related to atheism because we were taught not to accept beliefs blindly and not to accept dogma, but to really critically analyze those things. And of course, we had our ethical system, which is pretty much shared in common, I think, in our culture. And that was based mainly on asking yourself, whether an action you considered, whether that would be good or bad for society or the group you were in, and if everybody were to conduct themselves that way, would that be damaging to society? There were a few things that were just accepted as just things you don't do, but pretty much we were encouraged to analyze that too, and mostly put it through the rationale test of, if everybody conducted themselves this way, would it be destructive? And I always found that to be pretty satisfactory test, So we never we shared the common values of right and wrong, but most of them anyway. I mean, we believed in civil disobedience, etc. But we didn't attribute that to any particular religion, religious belief, or to any particular scripture, which I think is a very dangerous thing. And you can see what it does in our society with people pointing to various scriptures and various books and saying it's right because it's in this book, simply because it's in this book. That would never be a problem in our family. So in a way that I think also supports tolerance. So that was good. I never got married, nor did I have children. I'm a serial monogamist. I'm real loyal and monogamous, and I've had a series of just like some people have a series of marriages. I've had a series of monogamous relationships. So I'm a serial monogamist. This most recent relationship I've been in for about 12 years, so it's real stable, and I presume it will be permanent. I'm kind of, I do tend towards being somewhat of an existentialist. That's why I don't tend to. I mean, since I don't believe in an afterlife, I don't believe that, marriage is going to guarantee an eternity together. So that sort of frames my vision of marriage here, in a transient world, which may be the only world. I don't know. My mind just went off on that, Lacey, off on a tangent, and I pulled it back real quick, and I think I just lost part of that. But that's, if I remember, I'll go back to that. But it was a real interesting thought, but I had to pull back out of it, or I wouldn't have been able to continue. Now, I never had children. I've never felt a real need to have children. I've never felt that I had, that I must have children, and I'm fine with that decision. I was never in the right relationship that would have sustained children. See, if I do decide to have children, it's a serious decision, because I would feel such responsibility to the children, to raise them up. Also, my family went through a horrific divorce, and I've never been. This is the first relationship I think now that I've been in that's really, really stable. I've been in a lot of relationships that were either as co-artists or something, or they were just not your traditional relationships, where people were in the marriage to settle down, to have children, to buy a house. I sort of rejected a lot of traditional roles, I guess. a lot of traditional roles while growing up, you know. So I wouldn't have children in an unstable relationship. I just don't think that would be ethical to do. And I've really never felt a real need to have one. The one thing that haunts me about it is that the thought that ever since the first cell originated, or depending on whether you believe in evolution or if not, the first human, you know, the fact that life has been just reproducing and reproducing and reproducing for possibly, you know, millions and millions or billions of years, and that's a straight line down to me, and I'm the one to decide to stop it. That to me seems I'm a little uncomfortable with that. I can't decide whether that's arrogant on my part or freeing or arrogant or what. But I have to say it haunts me a little bit in that it seems like, you know, I mean, what, I'm going to be the only thing right, you know, out of all these billions or millions or thousands of reproductive cycles. I don't know, you know, but it doesn't haunt me enough to make me really regret. You know, I have no regrets, I'd say. You know, just a twinge, you know, a kind of a spooky twinge. Now, the fact that I haven't had children or gotten married hasn't you know, prevented me from hypothesizing, well, what if I fell in love with a woman and we decided to have children, and what if that woman had a particular religion? You probably know from my prior video to you that I'm actually agnostic. I suspend judgment on whether or not a God exists, and I don't even go to the next stage, which is to say, well, okay, if a God exists, what are those God's attributes, and do they intervene? Does it intervene in the world? Does it answer prayers? None of that arises. I just simply basically admit to myself that I don't know if there's a God, and I don't know if I can know. I don't even know that. So I'm profoundly aware of my own ignorance, is another way to put it, too. But in any event, my parents would have discussions with me about it because, you know, the family, I'll call the family religion, was atheism. So the question would arise, what if you someday grow up, young man, and, you know, you fall in love with a religious woman? And I think the general answer that my family had, and that I also have, is that I would, of course, teach the child the values I have, and that includes for me the value of rational thought, and I would expect that that my wife would also teach values. I would have a problem. I wouldn't want the child raised in a particular religion, for instance, to be a regular goer to a religious group, you know, a church or a temple or a synagogue or what have you. I would really want the kid really to be kept free and to let them make up their own mind. So it would cause difficulty with me if I were married to a woman who said, well, no, the kid must go to church and I want the kid to believe. It would cause friction. I would hope that it would be someone who, or it would have to be someone really, who would say, because I don't want to give a kid a foundation for schizophrenia, you know. Have to be someone to say, look, well, let's teach the kid things objectively, and then tell the kid that at a certain age, you know, of course, you're going to have to make up your own mind as to what you believe. Maybe we'll teach you both ways, and, you know, you make up your mind which to follow. Choose your own religion or choose no religion. And I have to say I would prefer that the child would choose no religion, because you know, religion is so much more than just a simple metaphysical belief. I mean, it's just filled with historical values of particular cultures and particular, I don't know, they're political too. They're rife with difficulty for me. I don't like organized religion. I really don't. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to call that the end of the video. We can revisit it, and if I ever remember what it was that I forgot, I'll let you know, huh? Anyway, you take care. Bye-bye.